There's been a lot of talk recently about AI eating everything and destroying SaaS. Well, I'm here to tell you that SaaS ain't dead. In fact, far from it. If you look at the companies that are pushing this whole SaaS is dead narrative, it's the guys who have invested too much in AI. It's Microsoft, OpenAI, Facebook, etc. They've wasted billions upon billions and need to justify why those billions have been wasted. Look, AI has its purpose and it will continue to evolve. But it doesn't mean that SaaS is dead. This whole idea that agents are going to take over the world and do everything and you'll no longer require a SaaS is just ridiculous. In this video, I'm going to explore the different facets of that and help you decide if you think SaaS really is dead or if, like me, you think there's a long and healthy life ahead. So first up, what's the agent hype? The agent hype is that you're going to sit at your computer, you're just going to type out something and the agent's going to go out and basically do everything for you. It's going to do the research for you, it's going to build a database for you, it's going to build an interface for you, it's going to do everything. It's going to connect to your emails, it's going to take screenshots. Basically the whole works and everything you might ever do in a SaaS is going to be done by this magic agent. Let's be honest. If you've worked with AI, you know that it's unreliable. You know it does some things well and then some things it completely gets wrong. And would you really trust a workflow, which is essential to your business, to something that's doing this in a sort of working way, but sometimes just doesn't work at all? While that might work for a small business and it makes sense for a solopreneur or someone like that, I think when you think about a corporate, that is just completely unacceptable. They cannot have a system which is unreliable and has even a failure rate of 5% on, let's say, their daily workload. That kind of failure rate introduces too many problems, too many bugs, and too many other things. The other big problem with AI is its nature to be able to be compromised. There's an ability, if your agent is connected to your core systems, that the agent might just decide to delete everything on your system. Or it might enter rows and rows and rows of junk, which just makes your system unusable. Again, this is a fundamental problem. We can't just have a system which just goes crazy and starts doing all sorts of things. That it misinterprets one of your requests and starts doing something across the board that is just, completely off. So again, I think this whole fantasy that AI agents are going to rule the world is something that may happen years down the line, but not something that's likely to happen anytime soon. Point number 3. Let's assume that the AI agents get good enough and start doing all this work for you across different applications and different things. Well, how do you still access that information and core systems? Well, guess what? You're still going to be using SaaSes. Maybe you won't, but the agent will use a SaaS to complete the request or to complete whatever it might be that it needs to do. It still fundamentally makes sense to have an interface which humans can access, and sure, that agent can access as well. And if the agent is using the human interface, there is still a need for the SaaS. Who do you think is really going to be impacted the most out of agents surfing randomly and doing things instead of humans actually participating? Do you think that's going to be good for Google, who relies entirely on advertising, for Facebook, who relies entirely on advertising, for ByteDance, who relies entirely on advertising and some subscription costs, for X, for all the major corporations out there that are basically moving towards an advertising model? Even Netflix has started showing ads on certain price plans. When you consider that in the scope of things, while all of this money has been invested into AI, and mind you, it's a loss maker for everyone at the moment. OpenAI recently came out saying they need to charge $20,000 for a user account for it to actually make sense. Do you really think the major companies are willing to destroy their core business in order to push this AI hype? I really don't think so. And I think as a countermeasure to this AI, the large companies are going to reduce access more and more and more to AI agents as they keep progressing. X is a good example of that. They've basically killed their API. Twitter did it, but they've killed their API and it's no longer available. If you try and scrape X with a bot, it's almost impossible to get there. Now there'll be clever ways of getting around that, and obviously an agent using a browser is harder to detect. But the simple fact is, large corporations rely on advertising. They will not want this to happen, and they'll go out of their way to stop it from happening. The AI companies and the AI solutions that are being pumped out there at the moment are fantastic. I think for a small to medium-sized business, they can replace some processes, and they can really help especially a solopreneur or people like that to pull things together very quickly. But the likelihood that this is going to take over the world and it is no longer going to be a requirement to have a SaaS and that the entire business model gets flipped completely is unlikely. There'll be jobs replaced from AI, 100%. There'll be tasks and other things replaced, again, 100%. You'll still need a human to check it. You'll still need a human to verify. Someone with good attention to detail, someone that loves process, someone that, is always involved there and can engage. But this whole idea that SaaS is gone, stop worrying about it. It's a very long way off. And I think a lot of corporations are going to fight this head on, even if the technology comes out that allows this to happen. Hope that's been useful. I'll see you in the next video.